on the Fan. We come to the Super Bowl so that we can catch up with Jayson Werth. Actually, we were going up the escalator today, and Darius and I, Danny, are like on our way up to the media room, and Werth had come right in the door, and I'm like, that looks like Jayson Werth.
There's no way.
And he's like, and Darius is like, does look like, and then we just went on with our day. Like that was like, it was like weird. And then we're back here an hour later, and he's walking by. I'm like, definitely Jayson Werth. It's him. So here's my question to you. Danny kind of got to this. My contention all offseason has been they need to make a splash like they did in 12, when it was time to go in, and before that with you, and it just seems like that's not coming. This was the offseason where I thought for sure the Werth move is coming. You've got the young guys, you've got the talent, but they're a piece or two away. I don't know how closely you follow it, but as someone who cares about the team, you were on the field. You didn't have to be when they won the World Series in Houston. I remember you right there watching them and high-fiving people. Like, what do you make of that?
Well, I'm not in on these conversations. Not yet, anyways.
They're not calling you.
They're not calling me on these, so I don't know, what they're thinking or what's going on. I do agree that, there's a veteran presence that's probably needed in that clubhouse. It would be. We're gonna have to improve the team. I think that was kind of my biggest issues while I was there all those years. Is we wouldn't ever go for it. We wouldn't go like at the trade deadline. We'd never really we'd never go hard and try to load up. But that's what they did in 19 when they won. They went out, they improved the team, back into the bullpen and really went for it, and they won. So we were always right there. The whole thing where we never got over the hump out of the first round, like that whole thing. Say whatever you want, but those teams they're all good teams, and we battled in all those divisional series. And the team that we played when they went on to the NLCS, they were done. Like we beat them up. Like if we would have gotten through that divisional series, we wouldn't have been done. We wouldn't have been beaten up. We didn't lose. We lost those games and we didn't get through it. But I still think we were the better team. We didn't get it done. But I mean, those 5-game series are tough. If those were 7-game series, I think we would have won all of them.
I think I've heard you talk about this in the past, but that 2014 team, I think was probably on paper the best team that you guys had, and maybe even on paper better than the 19 team. Is that the one that still sticks with you the most?
I mean, they all do. I mean, I think we were right there every time. Yeah. I mean, it's so disheartening to even think about it. Like those are crushing losses. Like those hurt. Those stayed with us for a while. Like I think was it 14? I think it was 14 when I went to my farm for a month and turned my phone off and just didn't talk to anybody. Like it was
really.
It was.
Is that the Dodgers?
No, it's Giants.
That was the Giants.
Oh, that was Hunter Strickland. Yeah. Bryce took him deep 3 times.
That was. I mean, they were all tough. Like the Dodgers one was tough. Even I mean they were all tough. They were all like awful, crushing defeats. And I still feel like it was opportunity lost. But what are you gonna do?
Jayson Werth is with us here on Grant and Danny. All right, one more Nats question for me is the story about ripping the sign off the wall. He just spit out his ruffles.
Potato chips.
I believe the quote was, "When did you lose this team, Matt?" I think we have the use by date is over on that, right? We're past the
we can
statute
talk about
of limitations. Yeah,
we talked about. Somebody asked me a question today earlier about a fight I got in 2000. So I feel like that was time to talk about that one.
Yeah, let's unpack this one too.
Let's get it out. All right. Yeah. So
it is a true story.
This is not on my bingo card either today.
No, we're doing it, man. We're here. We're all here together.
So, all right. There's a game. There's a game in spring training. This is when did you lose? When did you lose the team?
Yeah.
There's a game in spring training. We get into a little dust up with the Marlins. I can't think of the pitcher's name, but it was a little testy kind of type of game. I don't know if they hit somebody. So we get we come in and the next day, and Matt tells everybody that that's not how it's gonna go down, and sets this whole thing up. We're gonna go down there tomorrow, and they can't have it both ways. They're not. We're not gonna allow them to push us around. And I think we were all pretty I thought we were all pretty fired up. Like it was awesome. Let's go. So then we don't take half the team down. I figured we're all going to Miami. So we take the AAA squad. All right. All right. So I figured if you want to fight, you should probably have me with you.
So you didn't get to go on the trip.
So I didn't go on the trip.
Okay.
And then it goes out. They exchange the lineup cards, and Matt tells the bench coach that I don't know what he says. He says you guys can't have it both ways, and it doesn't shake his hand. So basically I don't know exactly what he said because no one was standing up there, but Mikey Moe's on the Marlins.
Mike Morris,
yeah. So he's of course he's stirring the pot the whole time. Like after the game, he's calling everybody, "Your manager's a." So he picks a fight with the Marlins, and then the whole game I guess is real chippy. Everybody's on edge and kind of like what you'd expect. Nothing happens. We drive home. They drive home. They drive back, and he gets back and he picks up the phone and calls the Marlins manager and apologizes. Says sorry, and so then that sent all these shockwaves through the clubhouses and to the team, and what are you doing? What are you saying sorry for? You said we were going to go over there and fight. We're going to kick their ass. Now you're. So everybody's the whole team's what are we doing? What's going on? What's wrong with him? What? So I go in the office the next day. I'm like, Matt, what are you doing? What? He's like, well, I just don't want to be known for that. I don't want to be that guy. I was like, okay, but you just had a meeting 2 days ago and told everybody what we were going to do, and now everyone knows that you called and apologized. What are you going to do? I'll handle it. I got it. And he never said a word about it. Never said nothing. So that was when he lost the team. So by the time
there was a lot of baseball ahead, by the way.
Yeah, that was months before.
Yeah.
Months. This is spring training. We're talking about August, I think, right?
Yeah.
So Desi calls me. Desi calls me and says, "Hey, do you know you're not playing?" And we came back from Colorado, long trip back. We got in late. I'm a fairly elder player at this point. If you weren't going to play me, you would probably sit me the first game back from Colorado. It was long flight, and everybody was tired. It was gassed, but it's fine. You play every day, so it wasn't an issue. But the next day, I'm laying on my couch napping, and phone rings. Desi calls me. He says, "Hey, do you know you're not playing?" No, what? I'm not playing. He says, "Bro," and when he said "bro," I already knew what was about to happen. So he's like, "Bro, we need something." I'm not telling you what to do or anything. And he's like, "But we need something." I was like, "I got it. I'll be right there." So I get my GT3. I go screaming down
the GT3.
The GT3.
You went the speed limit the whole way.
Yeah. No, I went how I usually drove before I got arrested, and I went I'm just so furious because look, you don't have to tell me when I'm not playing or when I am playing, but it would be if you want to give me a day off and really give me a rest, you'd say, "Hey, you're tired, we're tired, take a day, get your rest, because when you wake up in the morning, your whole day you're built to play, you're on the whole day, you're on the whole day. So if I'm not playing, then give me the whole day off, And he knows this. Matt played a long time. He could have been a really good manager, but he refused to do stuff like that. So at that point, the season was lost. The whole thing. We were at the point of either we win the rest of the games and we need a spark, or we suck. So I walked in, took the lineup card off, went and looked for Matt, ripped it up, and told him if he wants to win, he get a new effing lineup card. Me with at the time I was leading off, so one with me on the top of it, and I thought who I thought the guy was. I thought that he would fight me. I would have fought me.
You would have fought you.
Yes.
Jayson Werth would fight Jayson Werth.
I would have fought me. I thought for sure we were going to. I was ready.
Like an actual fight.
I was ready.
Right.
I was like, this is what needs to happen.
This is the forest fire to cull the growth here. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, we got the guy that called over and gave up and apologized. So it was more of that was just a season that we had, and it's unfortunate, and I hate bringing it up and talking about it, but you asked, so
no, and I appreciate your candor, and I mean for Nats fans, this is catnip. We're going down a memory lane here with Jayson Werth with us here on G&D. All right, I will ask you now.
All right, let's do it.
About Icon Racing, off the rails, what you've got going on, because my guy here has a horse that's out here winning some of the biggest races in the country.
Yeah, so last year with Dornock, we go. He takes us to the Kentucky Derby. Owning a horse in the Kentucky Derby is the most prestigious thing you can do in sports. It's like it'd be like getting your name called for the New York Yankees on opening day. Like it is that level, or for the World Series for that matter.
How unlikely was it for like one of your horses to do that?
I would say
I would understand.
Extremely unlikely. That was the first colt that I got into. So the first colt that I bought into runs in the Kentucky Derby, wins the Belmont, wins a Triple Crown race. I mean, I think there's guys that have spent hundreds of millions of dollars to try to do that, and they've never achieved it. And so I own 10% of Dornock, and people are like, oh, like this dude owns 10% of this horse, acts like he owns all of it. Yes, you're correct.
Yes,
you are correct. Like I don't care if you own a fraction of a percent. Like, and that's what I think the sport is missing. And I think it's been like these these elitist billionaire class people that have owned these horses for forever, and no one's had a chance to experience what it's like to own a horse, at any level. So now you have these groups like My Racehorse. They have all these fractional ownerships, whatever. So my summer was amazing. We spent the summer in Saratoga watching these horses run. We won the Belmont. We go on. We win the Haskell, which is like the next biggest race. Then we run fourth in the Travers, which was like that race felt like one of those teams I played on in Washington where we lost the division. Like that was that big a loss. Like if he wins that race, we're looking at like our comps are like Justify, American Pharoah,
wow, okay,
Secretariat ish. It's not the Triple Crown, but it's like it's the second Triple Crown,
right.
The Belmont, the Haskell, and the Travers. Now, if he wins the Travers and he goes on to win the Breeders' Cup, which at the time I'm thinking this horse is this good, right? He wins the next race. He is arguably the greatest horse of all time. So that was the history. That was the vision into this first chance, first try.
Wow.
At doing this. It's like it was incredible. So I'm like, so now I was like, all right, so how do we do this? How do we compete with these billionaire guys, year in, year out? Well, all right, so let's do some crowdfunding. Let's create a fund and pool people's money together, and we'll all go and buy these horses. And then now you have, bringing new owners into the sport, and you're going to buy horses, and they're going to be your horse. They're going to be your horses. And I've created Icon Racing LFG, which is our media company. We have the podcast, Off the Rails podcast. I'm doing with Sean Kelly. We just dropped our second episode yesterday.
Sean Kelly?
Yes,
Kelly.
That's our guy.
Sean's great. He's from Louisville.
He was a regular.
Louisville.
He came on all the times you didn't. He was on with us like.
I never came on.
Well,
That's my point.
He was desperate to come on.
No, Sean Kelly was our.
Somebody had to do it. Sean's great.
We still owe him cowboy boots because this is how long ago this was. He bet us before the college football season that Lamar Jackson would win the Heisman. Lamar Jackson was a nobody at Louisville. We're like, who the hell? Okay, fine. And we owe him cowboy boots. They're in the mail somewhere.
I'll tell him they're coming.
Yeah.
So the reason for the podcast is I think there's a void in horse racing where if you watch a horse racing podcast, you're either in horse racing or you're not. You're either like, you know a lot about it or you don't. You watch the Kentucky Derby, that's it. Maybe you follow the Triple Crown, that's it, right? Or you're totally in. So the podcast and the media company is like a bridge to bring people into the partnerships and hopefully to build the partnerships, but bring new owners into the sport, because this is the greatest sport like on the planet. Like, especially now with our phones, like you could be doing anything and be like, excuse me. And for 2 minutes, you're like,
Just
come on! And then you're like, all right, I'm back. Like, and, and like 30 minutes later, you can do it again, right? I mean,
Here we go.
So like for this gambling culture, like everyone's so into gambling now. Horse racing gambling is like so much fun, and like you don't have to like endure a 3-hour baseball game or a football game or whatever. I know there's prop bets, whatever, but for 2 minutes you can bet on a horse race and go absolutely crazy, like just lose your mind. And when you own the horses, even a piece of them, when you own the horses, like it is life changing. These experiences, you follow these horses, like they become your family members. Dornock, like I've got statues and pictures, and like
where is Dornock now?
He's at Spendthrift Farms in Lexington, and he's getting ready to start his career as a sire.
Okay, so he's gonna make little horses that win races.
So this is amazing. Like I'm new to the sport, so I'm learning.
This is the part that I think is incredible.
This is so incredible. So if you get a horse that's good enough to become a sire, all right, not many of them are. I don't know what the percentage is, but there's not many. These horses, they get paid. They get paid per ejaculation.
Okay.
I don't
know if we're allowed to say that, but that's good enough. Yeah. Per session.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have a mare. You have a mare. You send your mare to the Spendthrift, and you pay a stud fee. Now the stallion fees, the stud fees vary from stallion to stallion. The best ones are like $250,000. Dornock is $40,000.
Yeah.
Per.
Yeah.
And you make some of that money?
The money's not in the tree; it's in the seed, Grant.
Correct. We sold them, so we sold his breeding rights. So he's gone. Like Spendthrift owns them. I retained what's called as a season. So if I want to send a mare to him every year for free,
gotcha.
But the only thing they guarantee you is that the deed happens, and that's it. There's no guarantee that they actually get pregnant, but. It's just a remarkable.
That is wild.
It's wild. I mean, this sport is so crazy. So when I took Jackson, my son Jackson, to the first horse race, he was just like so annoyed. He's like, his quote was literally like, "What is this? The 1700s?"
That's great.
Literally, it was like, "What is this? The 1700s?" Like,
he's like on his phone.
This dude, he loves horse racing.
That's
now.
Cool.
He's at UK. He's like, he goes over to Spendthrift and sees Dornock. I mean, it's just such a life-changing sport. Like once you get into it and you start peeling the layers back of it, there's just so much to it. Like, so the thought is with Icon Racing is that we bring new owners into the sport, because it's just tipping your toe in, for a share. On my deal, it's $100,000 for a share. You get a piece of like 6 to 10 horses. Now that's not for this. Obviously, it's not for everybody. But if you go to myracehorse.com, that is for everybody. Okay. So that's something that where you can get in for a lot smaller. Granted, it's a smaller share, but I'm here to tell you that you don't need to own all the horse to experience horse racing. And through ownership, I think through ownership of horses, that's where we can change the sport, change the stigmas that aren't there anymore. I mean, horse race has done a great job of creating what it is now, but the sport is on the decline. And that's why I made these hats. Make horse racing great again.
MHRGA, white letters on a black hat.
Marga, make horse racing great again.
All right.
That's what we're trying to do. And I think through ownership, bringing people in, showing them what a great sport this is, and the access you get as an owner to the horses is unbelievable. You go to the barns, you can pet them, you get to they have personalities. They're like mythological creatures. It really is like Avatar, when like you take your hair and you plug it into theirs and you become one, right?
You can see how much he loves it.
There's something to it, man. I'm telling you, like,
dude.
Yeah, and like I'm like it's there's no like this is how everyone feels about the sport that's in.
Right.
And so like it's a great sport with great people. They take great care of the horses. It's not, the stigmas about, oh, we're just going to send it to the glue factory if it loses. That's not the reality. That's at least 30 or 40 or 50 years old. Yeah, I'm sure that may have been the reality, but it's not anymore. I'm here to tell you. There's tons of aftercare programs. These horses, once they're done running, they have careers after their racing careers, and they're taken care of better than professional athletes, I can tell you.
This is our new best friend, Jayson Werth.
I did not
on
have
Grant and Danny, and I believe we were talking about this during the break. Our new Nats Insider. He'll join us every Friday at 1:00. We'll do 10 good minutes on the Nationals. I actually haven't mentioned that to him yet. But Jayson,
we'll have
it was
Ruffles,
awesome, man.
Ruffles chips every
Seriously.
time you come on, buddy.
Yeah, I'll send you a bag of Ruffles for every appearance.
I'm easy, man. Bag of Ruffles will go a long way.
Yeah, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen.